He was always pointing to some brighter spot on the canvas, and upon these brighter spots is where he delighted to dwell.
William Hooper.
William Hooper.
William Hooper.
William Hooper was born in Boston, Massachusetts on the 17th of June, 1742. He was named after his Scottish immigrant father, who was a highly respected and elected pastor of the Trinity Church in Boston. Young Hooper was the oldest of 5 children. His parents wanted him to follow in his father's footsteps of the ministry, and so he graduated from Harvard University at 18 years old. Young William realized that the ministry was not exactly his passion, and so he went on to study law, and he moved to North Carolina. In the fall of 1767, he decided to permanently stay in North Carolina and was married. One time, he fought against a bill that was put out by the British. He was so strongly involved, he wasn't even able to work for almost 2 years. And he preferred his honorable poverty to the expense of his principles. On the 25th of August, 1774, Mr. Hooper was elected as a delegate to the General Congress in Philadelphia. He was placed upon several very important committees. Well, on one occasion, in fact, it was on the first occasion which he ever addressed the House, it was said that he so entirely riveted the attention of all the members by his bold and his animated language that many expressed their wonder that such beautiful eloquence should flow forth from a member from North Carolina. How funny is that? Well, it was in the following year he was appointed to report an address to the inhabitants of Jamaica, and this is what he said, quote, "Our petitions have been treated with disdain, but that now has become the smallest part of our complaint, because you have employed additional fleets and armies for the infamous purpose of compelling us, and your action has plunged us into the horrors and the calamities of war. It has caused the treasured blood to be spilt and to be wasted, and your design will not accomplish its aim," unquote. Obviously, he's characterized for his great boldness, because what he was saying was, what you have done has made a really big mess, and you will clean it up. Well, in the spring of 1776, Mr. Hooper's private business was requiring a great deal of his time and attention in North Carolina, so much so that he wasn't able to attend his congressional meetings. He did, however, return to share the honor of passing on and publishing to the world the immortal document of the Declaration of Independence, which he did sign at the age of 34. He was elected again as a delegate to Congress for the 3rd time on the 20th of December of 1776, but he had to retire from that seat in February 1777 because being away from North Carolina and from his business, well, let's be honest, it's hard to be in 2 different places at once. But he was still very fully involved from North Carolina as an ardent friend to his country, zealously attached to her rights, and ready to make every required personal sacrifice for her good. Well, like many other patriots of the day, he did not allow himself to lack courage or hope. While others around him were being dismal and discouraged, he was always pointing to some brighter spot on the canvas, and upon these brighter spots is where he delighted to dwell. He was appointed by the Congress as one of the judges of the federal court, but in 1787 his health deteriorated so much that in the month of October of 1790, at the early age of 48 years old, he was called to exchange worlds. In his person, Mr. Hooper was of middle stature, well-formed but a delicate and slender appearance. He carried a pleasing and an intelligent countenance. In his manners he was polite and engaging. Although towards those to whom he was not particularly acquainted, he was somewhat reserved. He was distinguished for his power of conversation, and he had very few, if any, rivals in the neighborhood where he dwelt. As a lawyer, he was distinguished for his professional knowledge and his indefatigable zeal in respect to business with which he was entrusted. Towards his brethren, he ever maintained a high and an honorable course of conduct, particularly towards the young. As a politician, he was characterized for his judgment, ardor, and consistency. In times of the greatest political difficulty and danger, he was calm, but very resolute. He never desponded, which means he was never low in his spirits from a loss of hope or courage. He never desponded, but trusting to the justice of his country's cause, he had an unshaken confidence that heaven would protect and deliver her. William Hooper was always looking for the bright spot. So let's do the same thing. Let's go out today and find a bright spot. The end.